Hi, Nithyananda, and thank you for tuning into this Facebook Live video. A couple of days ago, I did something really casually. I filmed a Facebook Live video about an experience I had back in 2012 at the hands of the immigration officials at Bengaluru International Airport. I made this video after finding out that so many of my dear friends, fellow disciples of Paramahamsa Nithyananda, have been harassed, bullied, targeted, and some even sent back, not allowed entry into India, by these rowdies who think they have the right to take the law into their hands and make up totally fraudulent, fake visa criteria that literally don't exist. The visas that we travel on, we are educated, intelligent, successful people who know the ins and outs of international law. Nobody is going to buy a $2,000 plane ticket to another country without the proper visa. See, nobody is going to come here unless they have the means to support themselves, unless they have a way to leave the country again, unless they have the right visa. We're not idiots. Now, to my surprise, actually, the media has picked up my story. And the reason this surprises me is that basically I lost internet. Okay, I really came down hard on the paid media because the reason Nithyananda disciples get harassed, attacked, name-called, badgered, wherever we go, the reason we get attacked like this is because the media have published so many lies about Swamiji. From the morphed video that was published by the now defunct Sun TV back in 2010, to the fake rape victim who claims she was raped at a time when she wasn't even in the country where she claims the rape took place. All these stories the media picks up without fact, without evidence, without even having the common courtesy to ask any of the people who were here at the times those incidences happened. Because they publish these lies about Swamiji, the average general public who are not properly educated in discerning truth versus lie in the media, who don't have media literacy, they hear all of this and they assume our guru is something which he is not. They assume that he is a predator. Now, the irony here is that I have never once even been looked at by Swamiji in a way that makes me feel uncomfortable, let alone spoken to, let alone touched. Swamiji has never looked at me, spoken to me, touched me, or in any other way made me feel like he is anything else other than my guru. He has been nothing but perfect as a teacher, as a guide, as a spiritual influence in my life. He has healed me of the glasses I had to wear. My eyesight is now 20/20. I wore glasses from the age of 7. He's healed the arthritis in my knees. He has helped me see how to live my life in a way that is fulfilling. Little personal goals, like for example, when I was a kid, I was a passionate vegetarian, and it was my goal to make my mother become vegetarian, but nothing I said to her would ever give that shift. Within 1 week of following Swamiji, my mother decided spontaneously on her own, I don't want to eat dead animals anymore. I want to become vegetarian. See, literally every goal I've ever set for myself, I've achieved, thanks either to Swamiji's blessings or to Swamiji's teachings. For that reason, I follow Paramahamsa Nithyananda, not because somebody has convinced me to, not because somebody has told me to, not because I've been forced to, but because my own life experience is showing me the best of everything I've ever known is embodied in Paramahamsa Nithyananda. Now, as someone who stays in his ashram on a regular basis, I can tell you I have never seen Swamiji behave indecently with anyone, man, woman, child, animal. Even the stray dogs and the stray cats who come here are fed, are taken care of. They're even given diksha, they're given initiation. Swamiji is nothing but pure compassion. Now, these immigration officers have the audacity, have the indecency, have the gall to say that they're trying to protect us from him, when in fact they are doing what they're condemning him for, even though he didn't do it. They are sexually harassing us in the name of protecting us from someone who has never sexually harassed us. They're looking us up and down and sneering in order to so-called save us from falling victim to someone who is only equipping us with powers. These officials, I want it to be very clear, I'm not just loudly speaking in social media. Now the international media has taken notice. How are you going to defend your illegal actions? How are you going to defend yourself? Back for having the audacity to question me and ask, has my guru touched me? How can you defend yourself for pushing that question even after I said no? How can you defend yourself for holding my passport while teasing and taunting me in a language I don't understand? How are you going to defend yourself for sending 3 innocent, law-abiding, visa-holding, wealthy people out of India for no damn good reason? My friends who were turned away at the border are capable of supporting themselves. They have money. They have credit cards. They have resources. They have visas to prove that they're ready and legally admissible into the country. Do you know a foreigner is not allowed to board a flight to India unless we show our documentation beforehand and it fits the standards of the airline who is trained to identify this? I'm mad, and the only way I'm going to stop shouting about this incident is when the Kempe Gowda Bengaluru International Airport issues a public apology to me and to my friends, when they guarantee that my friends will be allowed into India because they're coming here as tourists and they have the right. When they pay for the flights for Mary and Braun to come back, when they pay for the flights for all 3 who were sent out to come back, and when they guarantee that they will not harass us, discriminate against us, ask questions that are inappropriate for their station, and legally unjustifiable. I will not stop until this issue is taken through to completion, and completion means guarantee that it will not happen to another innocent soul. One thing I find shocking is that yesterday, the very same day the local media in Karnataka picked up this story, the same exact day when Suvarna TV aired what I had to share in 2012, yesterday, one of my friends was coming back to India and the same harassment happened to her. I'm sitting with her right now. Ma, why don't you introduce yourself and share what happened to you last night as you came back to India?
Yes, Nithyananda, my name is Lindsay. I am from the United States. I flew in to Bengaluru International Airport last night at around 1 a.m. I was with a large group of people, so I wasn't the only Westerner coming to India. So there was plenty of others around me. When I was approaching the immigration stand, an officer approaches me and demands my passport. He demanded my passport from me. I complied and gave it to him. I didn't want to cause any more trouble than he was probably already going to start. So I handed him my passport. He looks at it and he says, "Come with me." And we walked to the side into a special area for trouble. So he immediately tells me, "You will not be getting through. We will be sending you back."
Oh my God, wait. So he demands your passport. Without even looking at your documentation, he tells you you won't be getting through.
Yes, he did.
That's crazy. That's illegal. Go ahead, Ma.
So I told him I would not be discriminated against. I told them that others have been discriminated against. Nithyananda devotees, they have been sent back, and I stood my ground and I said, I will not be sent back. I will make it through. I will not tolerate being discriminated against. They made that very, very clear.
Good.
And then they told me to go sit down. So, and they revealed nothing to me. They didn't explain why. They weren't answering my questions I had about this situation. They had like nothing to say to me except, "You will not get through and you will be sent back."
Did you ask them any questions?
I just said, "Why wouldn't you let me through when I have the legal, I have everything you are asking for. My visa is completely legal. They let me fly here. They let me buy, like,
yes.
I made it here, so I'm legally able to be in India right now."
And what did they say when you asked that?
They didn't really answer, honestly.
They didn't answer?
No, they kind of would just change the subject and would talk amongst themselves.
In English or in Canada?
The other
in
language,
Canada.
yeah.
See, this is the other thing I have an issue with. As a Canadian citizen, I know the law in Canada, which is, as an international airport, a country with many international airports, in all the local airports, so the airports that only fly national flights, you know, like from Lethbridge to Kelowna, or like, Winnipeg to Ottawa, it is mandatory that on those flights, English and French are both spoken because those are both national languages. If a passenger is stopped or flagged for any reason, it is the law that the airport officials speak to that passenger in their native language. Not only that, in the customs offices, they have translators who speak every international language under the sun, so that if anybody has any questions, any issues, any legal problems, the basic human rights, even for a criminal, is that the situation be explained to them in a language they can understand. Now, neither of us are criminals. We are law-abiding citizens of the world. We are foreign tourists who are happy to come spend all of our money in India. I really can't stress this enough. It is the law. If an immigration officer is holding you for any reason, he or she has to tell you why in a language you can understand. It's complete injustice, and I want this on record. You fools who are discriminating against Nithyananda disciples don't know the power of Nithyananda disciples. Other gurus in India, they might stand for this kind of crap, but we ourselves as disciples of Swamiji won't stand for this crap. I know that as a whole, people in India are very welcoming. I want to make this other point very clear. In the Kempe Gowda Bengaluru International Airport, at the paid taxi stand, they fold their hands really politely. They say, "Thank you for coming. We're very happy. We know how to find your ashram." They're very polite. At the stores, at the duty-free shop, the ground staff, the landing crew of the airplane, even the baggage handlers, everyone else in the Bengaluru International Airport is not friendly. So why are the immigration officers the way that they are? Why do they discriminate like this? Why do they always single us out? Why do they only flag those who are Nithyananda disciples? Why did they ask me, why don't you follow Sri Sri Ravi Shankar instead? What the hell right do they have to tell me who I should and shouldn't follow? I saw him live in Vancouver the same year I first saw Swamiji, and when I went into the hall, I felt nothing. His words were empty. I didn't get the same vibrant energy sensation I get when I look at Swamiji. I went to him with illness and with my eyesight problem and with my arthritis. Nothing changed. The first day I saw Swamiji, even without even having his darshan, without even having the touch to the third eye, without even Swamiji saying one word to me, just by being in the same hall as Swamiji, my arthritis was healed and my eyesight was healed. That's why I follow Nithyananda instead of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. Now, what business is it of yours? Seriously, it makes me wonder who these airport officials are working for. If not him, then why are you targeting us like this? Is it because you're converted Christians in disguise and you don't want Hindus coming through? See, I know very well what a missionary visa is for. I grew up in a city populated majority by Catholics and Mormons. I know a missionary visa is the visa a person following the Christian tradition takes when they go to another country with the sole purpose of converting the population to Christianity. I am not a bloody missionary, I'm a Hindu. When you tell my friends and me who are here to learn the rich, sacred tradition of Sanatana Hindu Dharma to get missionary visas, you a hate crime against us. We are here on the right visa. Our paperwork is in order. We have the means to support ourselves. We are without stain, but you are contaminated. Why are you mistreating us like this? Now, Ma, I want to know, after all this harassment, all this abuse you faced, how did you finally get through? What did you do? And what should others know? because very soon 2,500 people are going to be coming for Swamiji's darshan, as they do every December, and I want to make sure all 2,500 of them get into the country.
So yes, they had sent me to sit on the side, and I was just, I was like, I'm getting through no matter what. So I had sat, and I closed my eyes, and I held Swamiji in all of my space. And I was chanting the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Mahasadashivoham, continuously. And all of a sudden, the guy that had pulled me aside in the first place came up to me and said, let's go. And I went and got my visa stamped. And I got through.
So again, without telling you why he held you in the first place, without telling you anything at all, 1 minute you're not getting through, the next minute your visa's getting stamped.
Yeah, it was they were making it sort of like a game, like it was funny. Like they were dangling my entry over my head and making me try and catch it and entertaining my anger, which I wasn't letting happen, but they wanted that out of me. They wanted to get a rise out of me. They wanted to feel powerful, but I didn't let that happen. So you really, really need to not tolerate any discrimination and stand your ground. Swamiji will be with you. Like,
awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mo. Now, I have someone else here who was discriminated against when he came to the Nithyananda Adinam for the first time. He is my dear friend. His name is Shri Nitya Paramesthiananda Maharaj. He has taken monastic vows to live as a Hindu, but he was actually born and raised in a family that practices Islam. So he is Muslim, became Hindu by choice. Now, what happened to you when you came through Bengaluru International?
Well, it was actually after I took my IA and I had decided to take sannyas.
For those of you who don't know, IA means Inner Awakening. The next one coming up this December is called Mahasadashivoham. Don't miss it. Go ahead.
Yes. So after my Inner Awakening, I had decided to take Kavi already. And so that's the monastic vows in this orange dress that I wear. And throughout India, many sannyasis and Hindu monks are recognized simply by the clothes they wear, this orange colored dress.
Yes.
And so on my way back to Bangalore from after completing back home, I was stopped by the officials at immigration at Bengaluru International Airport, and they stopped me and they pulled me aside and actually held me there for 20 to 30 minutes, asking me to prove why I'm going to be a disciple of Paramahamsa Nithyananda if I have a Muslim last name. And I had to explain that my last name does not account for my spiritual views and my outlook. And they kept grilling me and grilling me and grilling me from all different directions. And I even had to prove my power manifestations, showing them how to roll a coconut on my hand.
What? Wait. How did that even come up? Power manifestation is not a criteria to enter India.
No. They were asking me why I followed Paramahamsa Nithyananda, our Guru Swamiji. And I told him all of the conscious breakthroughs that are available, and even the Shaktis, and they were curious about what Shaktis I had acquired from following him. And so,
who are these two? Find out and see.
And so I had to show them by putting a plastic container on my hand and move it around without my physical touch. And only then were they convinced enough to actually believe that I was a follower of a Hindu. Sorry,
there's a lot of construction going on. Whether haters hate or not, Swamiji's ashram is getting built up in a huge way.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Maharaj.
That I was a follower of an actual Hindu spiritual guide and incarnation. And so I felt really violated. And I feel like that was above and beyond their scope of practice, and they had no right to do that to me. And if other people are going through similar experiences, see, I was fortunate enough for them to let me through into India and stay. But they had also mentioned to me that I needed to purchase a missionary visa on my next return back.
That's crazy. Are you here to promote another religion, or are you here to live Hinduism?
I'm here to live and explore my own spiritual journey.
Are you here to convert anybody to anything?
I'm not here to convert anybody.
Then you're not a missionary. Get this straight. Unless you're on a mission to convert people, you are not a missionary. Is that clear? Bengaluru International Immigration Officers. And for the record, anybody born into any religion has the right to choose any other religion. It's basic common sense. It is a human rights violation to question an innocent, law-abiding young Muslim-born Hindu. You have no right to make him prove to you that he can manifest a power. There is much more to Paramahamsa Nithyananda than rolling coconuts. We can all do it. We can read your mind. We can scan your body as well as your x-ray machines scan our luggage. We can see your kidney stones. We can dissolve them if we have compassion for you. Or we can leave them there and let you push that jagged entity out of your jagged body. We have powers. But do we have to prove that to get into India? Last I checked, you let people in whether they manifest powers or not. The only person he is accountable to for why he chooses Hinduism is himself. His parents blessed him to come here. If a Muslim boy can convince his Muslim parents to allow him to become Hindu, what right does an immigration officer have to be convinced?
Yes, and I have to go back to renew my visa in a couple of weeks, and I really hope that none of these problems are still existing, because I don't want to deal with it, and I feel like it's not something that anyone should have to deal with, especially in this time and age. You know, with as much religious freedom as there is spreading around the world, I think this is a total backwards atrocity.
Yes.
And this does not need to happen anymore.
Okay, Maharaj, I absolutely agree. Now, from now on, every single Nithyananda disciple who comes through Bengaluru International Airport, we are going to first ask for the name and the badge number of the person who pushes us through security. We are going to ask why we are held if we are held. We are going to ask why we are pulled aside if we are targeted and pulled aside. And we will make this an issue as long as you choose to make it an issue. I am bloody sick and tired of hearing that my friends are getting harassed, questioned, subjugated to humiliation. Why should he move a plastic object off the hand of a security guard just to prove that he can? In fact, the moment you rolled that plastic container off his hand, he should have fallen at your feet for being a better Hindu than he is, if he's a Hindu at all. Whoever it was, the officer who asked me, why don't I follow Sri Sri Ravi Shankar instead? I'm challenging you back. You're obviously a Sri Sri follower. Why don't you move a plastic object off one of our hands? If you can, power to you. If you can't, why don't you follow Nithyananda? I suggest you start practicing. See if you can do it. Move an object off my hand. Then we'll let you into this Adinam if you want Swamiji's darshan. Should we have a rule at our front gate as strict, as discriminatory, as biased, and as rude as your rule? I have seen at least 25 or 30 Muslims attending Swamiji's free programs here, eating the prasadam, taking his blessings, getting initiation. We never ask them, prove why you follow Swamiji. We just welcome them and say, how wonderful that you're embracing some Hindu concepts and some Hindu practices. Thank you for coming. We don't discriminate against Muslims coming into the Adinam. Now, if you're trying to make a Muslim-born Hindu prove why he's following Swamiji under the guise of what? Protecting Swamiji? Meanwhile, you bully, harass, torture, and torment women, saying that you're protecting us against Swamiji. Who are you trying to protect from whom? Either you're trying to protect him or you're trying to protect us. Either way, one thing is clear. You are blatantly trying to keep disciples away from our guru. Why? I want answers. Any news media seeing this, these fellows are refusing to answer us, despite the files that we make against them. Two people that I know of, Dr. Deborah Chance, who is a retired school administrator, who is a scientific researcher, by hobby, who is a school principal by profession, who has a master's degree in psychology, and whose brother is a lawyer. She filed a report against the Bengaluru international immigration officers for harassing her and for targeting her. When the media approached asking about this, they claim no reports have been made. That report was made months ago. Why are you lying to the media? There was another report filed yesterday by the girl you spoke to just now who was harassed last night. You have 2 reports. The investigation is on your hands. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to assure us that we won't be discriminated again? Who do you work for? Why are you targeting Nithyananda disciples? When is this going to stop? What assurance are you going to give that Paramesty Maharaj is going to be safe when he returns to the USA? Are you going to grill him again on why he's Hindu? Are you going to grill him on why his last name is Hamid? Are you going to grill him about whether or not he's manifesting powers? Do you really want us to prove our powers? Is it a law that to enter or to exit India, a person has to answer sexual questions about themselves? Why are you doing all this? We won't tolerate it. Your web of lies, discrimination, and illegally pushing us out of this country, that time is over. Nithyanandam.